all, welcome to Bible study time and welcome to my quiet time Bible study. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I want to just thank you guys so very much for subscribing to this channel, and also thank you for sharing the videos. For those of you who may be new, my Hebrew name is Ahava, which is one of the many ways that you can say love in Hebrew. So this week we are continuing to read through the book of Jubilees, translated by R.H. Charles. And before we read through that book though, as I previously mentioned, I love to read through the Proverbs daily because there are 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs, and so I like to add those to like my scriptures that I read through and study. So I wanted to share a few verses with you that I actually read through today. One of them is actually my favorite. So I'm going to turn to the book of Proverbs chapter 16, as it is the 16th of February today, and I'm going to read verses 7, 8, and 9. So beginning in verse number 7, it says, "When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without right." In verse 9, "A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps." And my favorite verse is verse number 7. "When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him." I really do love that scripture. It's one of my favorites. I remember reading it many years ago and just thinking, wow, you know, it's just a reflection of the fact that when we do follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the creator of the universe, you know, we can't go wrong. Even if things don't go our way on this earthly plane, you know, we do have a hope and something to look forward to when the promises of the Most High from this beautiful Holy Bible come to fruition. So, as I mentioned, we are going to continue reading the book of Jubilees this week. Last week we left off in chapter number 40, I believe. Let me just pop my glasses on. And we're going to continue reading chapter 41, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yes. So let's continue. And last week we read about Jacob, and we also read about Joseph, and it kind of like dipped back and sort of went into more detail when it comes to Joseph, and it talked about how Isaac passed away and Joseph, the adversity that he went through. And we're going to continue reading because now Joseph is he's under the arm of the king. He's in Egypt, Pharaoh. Well, he's a king, but we'll call him Pharaoh in Egypt. And he's like second in command. And he's just sort of interpreted those dreams for the king. And they've gone through this famine. I do have to unpack some things that don't necessarily line up with the 66 book canon at the end of this. But let's continue reading. And I do have my little light here. Verse 1 of chapter 41. "And in the 45th Jubilee, in the second week and in the second year, Judah took for his firstborn wife from the daughters of Aram, named Tamar. But he hated and did not lie with her, because his mother was of the daughters of Canaan, and he wished to take him a wife of the kinsfolk of his mother. But Judah his father would not permit him. And this the firstborn of Judah, was wicked, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan his brother, Go in unto thy brother's wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her, and raise up seed unto thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed would not be his, but his brother's only. And he went into the house of his brother's wife and spilt the seed on the ground. And he was wicked in the eyes of the Lord, and he slew him. And Judah said unto Tamar, his daughter-in-law, Remain in thy father's house as a widow, till Shelah my son be grown up, and I shall give thee to him to wife. And he grew up, but Bethuel, the wife of Judah, did not permit her son Shelah to marry. And Bethuel, the wife of Judah, died in the 5th year of this week. And in the 6th year, Judah went up to shear his sheep at Timnah. And they told Tamar, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she put off her widow's clothes, and put on a veil, and adorned herself, and sat in the gate adjoining the way to Timnah. And Judah was going along. And as Judah was going along, he found her, and thought her to be an harlot. And he said unto her, Let me come in unto thee. And she said unto him, Come in. And he went in. And she said unto him, Give me my hire. And he said unto her, I have nothing in my hand, save my ring that is on my finger, and my necklace, and my staff, which is in my hand. And she said unto him, Give them to me until thou dost send me my hire. And he said unto her, I will send unto thee a kid of goats. And he gave them to her, and she conceived by him. And Judah went unto his sheep, and she went to her father's house. And Judah sent a kid of the goats by the hand of his shepherd, an Adulamite, and he found her not. And he asked the people of the place, saying, Where is the harlot who is here? And they said unto him, There is no harlot here with us. And he returned and informed him, and said unto him that he had not found her. I asked the people of the place, and they said unto me, There is no harlot here. And he said, Let her keep them, lest we become a cause of derision. And when she had completed 3 months, it was manifest that she was with child. And they told Judah, saying, Behold, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, is with child by whoredom. And Judah went to the house of her father, and said unto her father and her brothers, Bring her forth, and let them burn her, for she hath wrought uncleanness in Israel. And it came to pass, when they brought her forth to burn her, that she sent to her father-in-law the ring and the necklace and the staff, saying, Discern whose these are, for by him am I with child. And Judah acknowledged and said, Tamar is more righteous than I am, and therefore let them burn her not. And for that reason she was not given to Shelah, and he did not again approach her. And after that she bare 2 sons, Perez and Zerah, in the 7th year of the 2nd week. And thereupon the 7 pillars of fruitfulness were accomplished, of which Joseph spake to Pharaoh. And Judah acknowledged that the deed which he had done was evil, for he had lain with his daughter-in-law, and he esteemed it hateful in his eyes. And he acknowledged that he had transgressed and gone astray, for he had uncovered the skirt of his son, and he began to lament and to supplicate before the Lord because of his transgression. And we told him in a dream that it was forgiven him, because he supplicated earnestly and lamented, and did not again commit it. And he received forgiveness, because he turned from his sin and from his ignorance, for he transgressed greatly before our God. And everyone that acts thus, everyone who lies with his mother-in-law, let them burn him with fire, that he may burn therein. For there is uncleanness and pollution upon them with fire. Let them burn them. And do thou command the children of Israel, continuing on, there be no uncleanness amongst them, for every one who lies with his daughter-in-law or with his mother-in-law hath wrought uncleanness. With fire let them burn, the man who has lain with her, and likewise the woman, and he will turn away wrath and punishment from Israel. And unto Judah we said that his 2 sons had not lain with her, and for this reason his seed was established for a 2nd generation, and would not be rooted out. For in singleness of eye he had gone and sought for punishment, namely, according to the judgment of Abraham, which he had commanded his sons, Judah had sought to burn her with fire. Moving on to chapter number 42. And in the 1st year of the 3rd week of the 45th Jubilee, the famine began to come into the land, and the rain refused to be given to the earth, for none whatever fell. And the earth grew barren, but in the land of Egypt there was food, for Joseph had gathered the seed of the land in the 7 years of plenty, and preserved it. And the Egyptians came to Joseph that he might give them food, and he opened the storehouses where the grain of the 1st year he had sold it. And he opened the storehouses where was the grain of the 1st year, and he sold it to the people of the land for gold. And Jacob heard that there was food in Egypt, and he sent his 10 sons that they should procure food for him in Egypt. But Benjamin he did not send, and arrived among those that went there. And Joseph recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And he spake unto them and questioned them. And he said unto them, Are ye not spies, and have ye not come to explore the approaches of the land? And he put them in ward. And after that he set them free again, and detained Simeon alone, and sent off his 9 brothers. And he filled their sacks with corn, and he put their gold in their sacks, and they did not know. And he commanded them to bring their younger brother, for they had told him their father was living, and their younger brother. And they went up from the land of Egypt, and they came to the land of Canaan. And they told their father all that had befallen them, and how the Lord of the country had spoken roughly to them, and had seized Simeon, till they should bring Benjamin. And Jacob said, Me have ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon also is not, and ye will take Benjamin away? On me has your wickedness come. And he said, My son will not go down with you, lest perchance he fall sick. For their mother gave birth to 2 sons, and one has perished. And this one also ye will take from me. If perchance he took a fever on the road, ye would bring down my old age with sorrow unto death. For he saw that their money had been returned to every man in his sack, and for this reason he feared to send him. And the famine increased and became sore in the land of Canaan, and in all lands save in the land of Egypt. For many of the children of the Egyptians had stored up their seed for food from the time when they saw Joseph gathering seed together and putting it in storehouses and preserving it for the years of famine. And the people of Egypt fed themselves thereon during the 1st year of their famine. But when Israel saw that the famine was very sore in the land, and that there was no deliverance, he said unto his sons, Go again and procure food for us, that we die not. And they said, We shall not go unless our youngest brother go with us. We shall not go. And Israel saw that if he did not send him with them, they should all perish by reason of the famine. And Reuben said, Give him into my hand, and if I do not bring him back to thee, slay my 2 sons instead of his soul. And he said unto him, He shall not go with thee. And Judah came near and said, Send him with me, and if I do not bring him back to thee, let me bear the blame before thee all the days of my life. And he sent him with them in the 2nd year of this week, on the 1st day of the month. And they came to the land of Egypt with all those who went, and they had presents in their hands, stacte and almonds and terebinth, nuts and pure honey. And they went and stood before Joseph, and he saw Benjamin his brother, and he knew him, and said unto them, Is this your youngest brother? And they said unto him, It is he. And he said, The Lord be gracious to thee, my son. And he sent him into his house, and he brought forth Simeon unto them. And he made a feast for them. And they presented to him the gift which they had brought in their hands. And they eat before him, and he gave them all a portion. But the portion of Benjamin was 7 times larger than that of theirs. And they eat and drank and arose and remained with their asses. And Joseph devised a plan whereby he might learn their thoughts as to whether thoughts of peace prevailed amongst them. And he said to the steward who was over his house, Fill all their sacks with food, and return their money unto them into their vessels, and my cup, the silver cup, out of which I drink. Put it in the sack of the youngest, and send them away. Moving on to chapter number 43. And he did as Joseph had told him, and filled their sacks for them with food, and put their money in their sacks, and put the cup in Benjamin's sack. Odd early in the morning they departed, and it came to pass that when they had gone from thence, Joseph said unto the steward of his house, Pursue them, run and seize them, saying, For good ye have requited me with evil. You have stolen from me the silver cup out of which my Lord drinks, and bring back to me their youngest brother, and fetch him quickly before I go forth to my seat of judgment. And he ran after them, and said unto them according to these words. And they said unto him, God forbid that thy servants should do this thing, and steal from the house of thy Lord any utensil, and the money also which we found in our sacks the first time we thy servants brought back from the land of Canaan. How then should we steal any utensil? Behold, here are we and our sacks. Search, and wherever thou findest the cup in the sack of any man amongst us, let him be slain, and we and our asses will serve the Lord. And he said unto them, Not so. The man with whom I find him only shall I take as a servant, and ye shall return in peace unto your house. And as he was searching in their vessels, beginning with the eldest and ending with the youngest, it was found in Benjamin's sack. And they rent their garments, and laded their asses, and returned to the city, and came to the house of Joseph. And they all bowed themselves on their faces to the ground before him. And Joseph said unto them, Ye have done evil. And they said, What shall we say, and how shall we defend ourselves? Our Lord hath discovered the transgression of his servants. Behold, we are the servants of the Lord, and our asses also. And Joseph said unto them, I too fear the Lord. As for you, go ye to your homes, and let your brother be my servant, for ye have done evil. Know ye not that a man delights in his cup, as I with this cup? And yet ye have stolen it from me. And Judah said, O my Lord, let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ear. 2 brothers did thy servant's mother bear to our father. One went away and was lost, and hath not been found, and he alone is left of his mother. And thy servant, our father, loves him, and his life also is bound up with the life of this lad. And it will come to pass, when we go to thy servant our father, and the lad is not with us, that he will die, and we shall bring down our father with sorrow unto death. Now rather let me, thy servant, abide instead of the boy as a bondsman unto my Lord, and let the lad go with his brethren, for I became surety for him at the hand of thy servant our father, and if I do not bring him back, thy servant will hear the blame to our father forever. And Joseph saw that they were all accordant in goodness one with another, and he could not refrain himself, and he told them that he was Joseph. And he conversed with them in the Hebrew tongue, and fell on their neck and wept. But they knew him not, and they began to weep. And he said unto them, Weep not over me, but hasten and bring my father to me. And ye see that it is my mouth that speaketh, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see. For behold, this is the 2nd year of the famine, and there are still 5 years without harvest or fruit of trees or plowing. Come down quickly, ye and your households, so that ye perish not through the famine. And do not be grieved for your possessions, for the Lord sent me before you to set things in order, that many people might live. And tell my father that I am still alive, and ye behold, ye see that the Lord has made me as a father to Pharaoh, and ruler over his house and over all the land of Egypt. And tell my father of all my glory, and all the riches and glory that the Lord hath given me. And by the command of the mouth of Pharaoh he gave them chariots and provisions for the way, and he gave them all many-colored raiment and silver. And to their father he sent raiment and silver, and 10 asses which carried corn, and he sent them away. And they went up and told their father that Joseph was alive, and was measuring out corn to all the nations of the earth, and that he was ruler over all the land of Egypt. And their father did not believe it, for he was beside himself in his mind. But when he saw the wagons with which Joseph had sent, the life of his spirit revived. And he said, It is enough for me if Joseph lives. I will go down and see him before I die. And that brings me to the end of chapter 43. And I think I'm going to actually end there for today. Wow, very interesting story. I do like the fact that they didn't change too many things. As I mentioned, it seems to be sort of going back, because last week we read that Israel died, so it seems like they sort of went back as if someone is having a memory of the past. So we'll have to unpack that soon. And I'm so grateful to the Most High Creator God for all of the wonderful blessings that He has given to me this week. I'm grateful for my family. I'm also grateful for those in my social circle and those who I worship with from time to time. I want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video once again. Thank you guys for coming on this journey with me. We are very close to the end of the book, and I can't wait to share some of the gems that I have gathered during my research with you. I also want to remind you that the Most High Creator God of the universe, who sent His Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, to die for all of our sins, loves His children.